Now, with a great privilege, I would like to invite Dr. D. Narasimhan to make us his guest presentation.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity. I thank especially the NLC organizers, NLC authorities for giving me this opportunity to stand before you and talk to you about certain issues that which I feel environmental concerns, particularly from Indian point of view. All of us are talking about environment in one way or other. Whether you or your children at home, every one of us know. This is okay. Yeah, thank you. You'll be discussing in one way or other something about environment. You can't pass a day without talking a part of environment in your daily conversations. Maybe at the dining table, maybe at your drawing rooms, maybe when you walk. You keep talking about environment in something or the other way. You can't miss it. You may not know that you are actually talking about environment, but you are talking about environment. So that is environment, which is part and parcel of us. I thought I'll hear in this forum, I talk few things about environment. I hope it will make some sense to you. The environmental concerns, generally we can look at from three different perspectives. Three different perspectives like this. One is biosphere perspective. It is not something new to us. It's all in our Puranas, it's all in our history, it's all in our different religion texts. And the same way, intergenerational context. Environmental concern from an intergenerational concept. How this generation affects the next generation. We are actually doing it. Knowingly or unknowingly, we are actually doing it. So how do we realize it? Then, resource appropriation context. Resource appropriation is somebody glubbing up more, somebody eating poor, somebody, of course, having more, somebody having less. Resources are not distributed equally, resources are not consumed equally. And that's what resource appropriation. This is about from a biosphere perspective. There are a number of quotations like this you can pull out from different books or different sources of net. Look at this, that the sentence that I highlighted in blue, life is a jointly organized event. That's much more meaningful than anything else. Life is a jointly organized event which talks about everything about life. In fact, you and I is not only made up of flesh and bones, you are also made up of bacteria. There are millions and millions of bacteria in our gut. In fact, your moods, your emotions, your everything in your life is determined by bacteria. That's called microbiome. Microbiome determines who you are and what you do. You may not believe, that's the truth. And today microbiome is gaining gaining importance in European countries and also in other countries. And they are making medicines to tune to your health based on microbiome. What gut bacteria you have, let's put it back into your gut so that your health problems are solved. So people are going to that extent. So that is what is microbiome, and that is what when we talk about the biosphere level. This is a chapter from Bible. We also have it in our Indian Puranas. You all know Noah's Ark story. When the world was flooded to punish people because they are not actually following the God, what Noah did was, he collected every part of life, whether it is useful or not useful, and put it in the ship and took them to a safe land. And what he did was, he also collected both male and female of the organism so that they perpetuate. And interesting thing is, he did not collect only useful animals, only useful things. He collected everything. And that is what is diversity, which we call. So if you and I probably were in that position, we may select only things which are useful to us. But he didn't think of us. He thought the entire universe, he thought that should be saved, he thought everything is important. So that is the story of Noah's Ark. We have same thing in our, I don't have a picture. All of you know Krishna's story, Lord Krishna's story. Krishna, when he ate a bit of soil, and his mother Yashoda asked him to open the mouth. And to her astonishment, she saw the entire earth. It's just not the piece of soil, it's the entire earth in his mouth, which means a soil is representative of earth, and that is what is the lesson that we should be taking from it, not children eating soil, right? So there are great lessons in your Puranas, there are great things to be learned and interpreted in a different way, in an ecological way from our Puranas. From an intergenerational point of view, we've invented chemicals. In fact, after the Industrial Revolution, we've invented more than 180,000 chemicals. 180,000 chemicals, all of which are poisonous. All of which are also carcinogenic. There is no one chemical which is invented by us is safe, right? It may be in degrees, may be safe or safer or safest, but it is not altogether safe. Every chemical has a problem. Every chemical creates a problem. And the history proves it. We thought PVC is going to be safe. We thought chlorofluorocarbons are going to be safe. Now we feel that they are a nuisance to us. They create a hell of a problem. So every chemical that is created by a human being is a problem in the universe and is also a poison in the universe, because it not only spoils the earth, it also kills the human earth. Because lots of cancer incidents is because of all these chemicals. And one of the chemical, pesticides that we spray, is plastics, all of you know. Plastics, of course, is one of the worst things that we have done to the world. Though we cannot live without plastics. The remote I hold and the mic stand that is there, and everything is made of plastic, and the TV that is over there, everything is made of plastic. We cannot move away from plastics. But the indiscriminate use of plastics is something which we can avoid. And look at the data. 8.3 billion metric tons of plastics have been generated since its discovery. Majority of the plastic generated have been discarded. They have not been recycled or destroyed. They are simply discarded, just like we throw the bags. Right? Plastics, don't think of only throwbacks. Every mixture packet you buy, every kurkure packet we buy, every milk sachet we buy, they are all plastics. So plastics, it's like a god. They invade into our life in all forms. Of the plastics that are generated, only 9% is recycled. Just 9% is recycled, and 12% is incinerated. Okay. And worse, from the discarded plastics, we have another avatar of plastics, that is microplastics. I don't know how many of you have been reading about microplastics. Microplastics are plastics that have been disintegrated into smaller particles less than 5 millimeter. So that is microplastic. Microplastics are everywhere in the world. Not even one place you will find devoid of microplastics. It's there in the land, it's there in the water, it's there in the air. We breathe microplastics, we eat microplastics, we drink microplastics. Because worse, the sea, salt that we get from sea is surrounded by microplastic. That's the latest, I think in the last 3-4 years, people have discovered microplastics around the salt. So your salt is not safe. Similarly, the water bottle, unfortunately they didn't keep water bottle, thankful to the authorities. So the water bottle, 1 liter of water bottle, the article that probably appeared just a few months ago has 125,000 microplastic particles in it. Imagine when you buy a 1 liter of water bottle from a shop during your travel, you are gulping 125,000 microplastic, and that is what, it's one of the major health concerns. So sudden increase of cancers, sudden increase of other health disorders is one of the main causes, these microplastics. We don't seem to realize it. We just do it out of, as a kind of casual practice. We just do it. We don't realize how harmful using the plastic containers. In fact, when I was teaching my wife, she immediately realized one day, all of a sudden sometimes it happens, she discarded all the plastic containers where we used to keep all the kitchen ovens. She went to the shop, she bought glass bottles, let's say that then handling is a problem, I told. No, don't worry. If it breaks, let it break. We can buy another one. So we need to get an awareness, and the realization should come from you. It is very difficult to get that realization. Another aspect of our environment is water. It is one of the major environment. You know, water is an elixir of the world. Water, you can look at it from three different points of view. One is the actual water, which you get from your tap or which you get from your well or probably in the tanks or probably in the sea elsewhere. So that's all natural water, actual water. Then virtual water. And the other thing is trapped water. Trapped water is water that is trapped by dams and other artificial structures made by man. And you all know how trapped water is creating a problem in our world. Between Tamil Nadu and Andhra, or Andhra and Karnataka, or Karnataka and elsewhere, trapped water is a major issue. Right? Kaveri is one of the excellent example how trapped water can be politicized, how trapped water can be an issue for us. And trapped water not only is a political issue, but trapped water is also an ecological issue. When you stop, because water has a right. You and I talk about human rights. What about water right? What is the right of the water? The right of the water is to flow. When you block the water right and put a dam and construct and stop it there, it is not good for the water. So that's what we are trying to do it. Virtual water is something that is hidden in any of the products that we make and sell. That's an important lesson that should be learned. Virtual water, we use virtual water in many ways. For example, when you import egg from Namakkal or poultry from Namakkal, you are not only importing meat and egg, you are also importing virtual water that is spent on these poultry farms to grow them. Right? And similarly, when you get milk from places in Tamil Nadu, you are also importing virtual water. And in the same way, when you buy a car, you are also exporting virtual water. Right? When you buy a packet of coffee powder, that is the hidden water inside. Because coffee estate does not grow in dry places, it needs water. So everything needs water and we commercialize it. And this virtual water is, we don't realize there is water in it. Right? For example, when you drink your cup of coffee in the morning, you don't realize there is water in it. Though you make decoction to pour water, we don't realize coffee powder per se has hidden water in it. The trapped water also had a human issue, human side. It has displaced so many people by constructing dams. So many thousands and thousands of people have been displaced that we haven't addressed. You can classify people into two categories: forest people and ecosystem people. This terminology is same, though two different terminologies used. And agricultural people and biosphere people. We are all actually agricultural people. We are not forest people. You can today be in Neyveli, tomorrow you can be in Netherlands, maybe in New York. It doesn't make a big difference to us. We can live anywhere, comfortably as possible, as we are in our home. Because we don't depend on anything for our direct needs. Your food is sold by market, your medicine comes in the market, everything is from the market. It is produced by somebody else. You don't try to produce, you don't do anything. You just buy it. That's why we are market people otherwise. Biosphere people. People of the other type are directly dependent on nature. For example, if you replace one tribal person from Kolli Hills and put him in the next hill range, Javadi Hills, he will suffer a lot because the entire ecosystem is different. Entire resources are different. The terrain is different. So, how will he survive? That's the question. So we are trying to destroy the lives of these people when we do activities by replacing them, by displacing them. And finally, we produce one class of people, ecological refugees. These ecological refugees are otherwise we call in a euphemistic way in urban language slum dwellers. Slum dwellers are not really slum dwellers. They've been made into slum dwellers because they've been driven away from their homes. This is the virtual water cost. Think of how much water is required to produce a measure of each of these things. 1 liter of coffee, right, requires 1 kilogram of coffee requires 18,900 liters of water to produce. Same way, chicken, to produce 1 kilogram of chicken, you need 4,300 kilograms of water to produce. So rice, we all are rice eaters. We also export rice. Rice requires 2,500 kilograms of water to produce. So that is the hidden water. For each and every product, there is a great amount of water that is hidden. Not only eatable things or edible things or food products. Your soft drinks, right? I don't know how many of you this know. Your soft drinks. Our government, particularly Tamil Nadu government, sells Tamrabarani water to Coke and Pepsi, 37 paisa per liter. Whereas we buy 25 rupees per can, right? So we pay more and they pay less. And we buy Pepsi and Coke for 10 rupees or 5 rupees, whatever it is. To make a car, of course, Chennai is becoming a Detroit of world. We have more and more car factories are coming into this. We welcome industrial development. At the same time, they are all located in a very strategic locations, wherever there is a water source. Ford first came into Chennai, closer to Chengalpet, where there was a big water body. Similarly, along the Oragadam road, there are a number of lakes, number of other small water bodies, where you have car factories. It's not that we don't welcome car. Even I use a car. Everyone uses a car. At the same time, imagine the water that is needed to build one small car. That is 455,000 liters of water to produce one small car. So when we export a car to other countries, we are also exporting that much of water to other countries. We don't export water as such, but we export as a virtual water. That is what is virtual water. You all been hearing about carbon footprint, or ecological footprint. Our carbon footprint is ever increasing. I don't think it is going to come down in the near future because our lifestyle is like that. Carbon footprint is mainly due to lifestyle. It is not due to life requirement, life needs. If you look at the world's average carbon footprint is only 2.23 hectares, right? It is calculated how much acreage you need to live your present lifestyle. And same thing, industrial countries have 3 times more than the world's average carbon footprint. Whereas the last one, low-income countries, in which India is also classified as one, it is much, much less. But within India, we have huge variations in carbon footprint. Between haves and have-nots, there is a huge variation. And this carbon footprint is something which can be calculated by simple programs in the computer. You can calculate. I have checked with my students. Within the class, there is a huge difference of carbon footprint. Okay. And look at the global green gas emissions. I don't think I'm going to explain it today here. But the way the green gas emissions is happening, that is more in the developed countries than here in countries like India. And of course, India is now thinking of reducing methane emission from our rice fields, right? From our rice fields. Whereas they are never bothered about cutting down the carbon from their automobile industry, from other industry sources. One of the major issues about ecological thing is global warming. We all talk about global warming. We all talk about very general things about global warming without understanding the nuances of global warming. So that is the data. Every year we are burning 400 years of worth carbon that is stored underneath the soil. We'll bring it out like NLC and then burn it. We need it, of course, we need it. But how do we compensate? The red thing is important for us to understand. Out of 368 billion tons of carbon dioxide, carbon that is emitted from at least 100 years before, 1850 to 1995, only 208 billions were absorbed by several mechanisms. One of the major things is trees. We plant trees. Of course, NLC is beautifully greened. It's really astonishing. I don't think any other mines, I have not visited more mines other than the cement factory mines. This one is the first coal mine that I'm visiting. But beautifully done. Greenery is beautifully done. So you are trying to absorb more carbon through trees. At the same time, there is an amount of carbon that is left in the atmosphere always beyond the capacity of the absorption of trees. Trees cannot do the magic. We should understand that. Planting trees is not a panacea. Right? It is not going to be a panacea. So what we try to do is we have to reduce our requirements. I don't think we'll be ever able to achieve it. That's where we stand now. It's like a diabetic patient. You take insulin or tablets, fine, it reduces sugar, you are okay. But because you are taking insulin, can you eat every day at least 2 Mysore Paks every day, morning and evening, but still take insulin? You may be all right for some time. You may increase your dose. You may be all right for some time. You may increase your dose. But fine, but how long you'll do that? At one point, the person will collapse. And that is what we are trying to do with the system. Our system is exactly what we are trying to do. Okay. Why we need a forest? Being a botany person, I am much more interested in vegetation and forest. Why we need a forest? If you look at the world's history, now that is being now easily deduced by looking at mitochondrial evolution, genome evolution. There are lots of tools available to us. One of the things that we understood from the earth history is malaria originated from the days of deforestation. When people deforested in Africa, there were puddles and open areas that were created where mosquitoes bred. And from there it was spread. Earlier, it was not that much population and it was safely circulating within the forest. When we open a forest, they came out and tried to be either with the humans or with the animals that we are living close by. So we spread malaria and malaria originated. And that's what now we are trying to do. Urban conglomerations or human conglomerations is easy access for malarial parasites. And this is the availability of per capita forests, where at the least India is 0.06 hectares per person. That is what is available. When we have more and more forests per person, that means our lives are healthy. Urban heat. We are experiencing, particularly this summer, not only Chennai, even Bangalore has experienced worse urban heat. I happened to stay in Bangalore for 2 days for some purpose. It was not the Bangalore that I used to visit earlier. It has changed. We are all saying it is changing. It is changing. It is becoming more and more warmer. It is becoming more and more hotter. So we all say it, but we don't feel it. In the sense, we feel the heat, but we don't feel the reason for the heat. The reason for the heat is kind of a growth that we have generated, indiscriminate generation of growth. Indiscriminate growth. Look at Bangalore. Bangalore today has become Cape Town. Cape Town of Africa, which is waterless, which is struggling for water, and Cape Town of India is Bangalore. And next Cape Town may be Chennai. We don't know. Chennai is also moving in the same direction like Bangalore, with palatial or with multi-story buildings, with more and more water-consuming industries, with more water-consuming houses. All our gadgets consume more water. So that is, we never understood this is important. Otherwise, we are filling these cities with impervious materials. That is concrete. Concrete doesn't permeate the heat. It is an impervious material. It reflects heat, right? It absorbs heat, it reflects heat. So, and that's a major thing. And similarly, green cover has drastically come down. In Neyveli, maybe you've generated more green cover, thanks to the organizers, thanks to the company, which has done an excellent work in generating green cover. But it is not the same in Chennai or even Bangalore. People are now feeling, they don't feel, of course. Problem is we don't feel. right? We are happy to cut trees. If the trees in front of my home, it is littering my home, I call corporation, this is a problematic tree, please cut it. And if you pay something, they will also agree to cut it. And that's what is happening in many places. So we don't ashamed to cut trees. We are not ashamed to cut trees. We are very, very happy to cut trees, right? Because we want to be safe. Right? We want to be safe. Because tree is a common property, you should understand. When I have a tree, in front of my home there is a tree, whoever comes on the street, that's their parking place. They never mind it is my home. Right? They never mind I have to take my car out. They never mind I have to come out. And any number of fast tracks, Olas, Ubers, they park it there. And the morning, every morning, my house servant it's a big fight between cows that come and stay there, and to drive away and to clean the front yard, it's a big fight. Right? My wife calls it, she's doing manjuvarattu, that is jellikattu. Right? So she's trying to chase the cows, get the space to clean up the space. And that's the case every day. And in fact, there is enough amount of dung that is deposited in front of my home. People who visit my home always say, you are very lucky, sir. Lakshmi is there in front of your home. There is also Sani in front of my home. Right? I used to say, when you step out of home, if you don't look carefully, you will be stepping on the dung. Right? So you cannot say, I stepped on the Lakshmi. It is a blessing to me. Especially when you are going out to a conference or when you are going out to a class, that is not something good. So, why they come? Because there is shade. Shade is something become a rare commodity in the city. Right? Shade is something very, very important. It's a rare commodity in the city. And only when you have shade is, people can rest. There are a large number of hawkers who probably have their livelihood in the shade. In fact, when I was put in the committee to build a flyover in T Nagar, we were asked to take the count of trees. And when we saw a huge number of activities happening under the trees, and I told my chairman of the group, my committee, sir, when we knock down all these trees, all these people who make a living will be displaced. Are we doing something good? So he said, anyway, that's part of urban life. He simply said, of course, we have to agree as a committee, then several trees were cut. And we are doing it every day. So then how do you reduce the heat? There are less number of plantations than cuttings. And everywhere road widening. In fact, I received a memorandum from one of the highways. From Sribermadu to build a highway, expand the way, to build a road from Sribermadu to Arakonam, they have cut 900 trees. 900 trees which were more than 1 meter to 2 meter girth in size. Imagine the growth of the trees. They've cut it. After cutting, fortunately, one fellow went to the court. Why did they cut? They could have transplanted it. And immediately court agreed to the suggestion after cutting. This happens everything after cutting, right? And court agreed to the suggestion. Court asked the highways to examine whether they could have been replanted. And they said, they went to somebody, they said it cannot be replanted. And the fellow again put a case. In Delhi, when they built a metro, they replanted the trees. Then the court said, you go to Delhi and find out how they replanted the trees. The engineer went there, they got the information, said they replanted the trees with a very small diameter so that they were successful. Then he said, why don't you do the same thing here? They were not satisfied with the answers given by the highways. Then they asked them to go to the university and other places. Finally, they asked them to get an opinion from a botanist. That's when they came to me. Right? So I gave a reply on behalf of them, how it is important to replant now after cutting. You can't replant the cut pieces of the trunks. So now they have to plant more trees and create more road islands, create more shade in the road. Then the court has agreed to my reply. Of course, it was done for them, but trees were never been planted. That's the problem. Today our roads are very barren. And open spaces have disappeared in the city. Open spaces are very important dissipating heat. If we don't have an open space in the city and we have buildings close to close, side by side, very next to next, heat will not dissipate, heat will reflect. And that is why the heat intensity is increasing in the cities. And we never give importance to these open spaces, either as a ground, school grounds or college grounds or public grounds or even temple grounds. We have not now, even temples are being filled with smaller sanctorums. So we don't, and the idea of having open spaces is not only this, it's also ecological function, a social function. That's why every temple has a huge open space, at least some major temples. And they fill this ecological and social function. We try to now forget our earlier wisdom and we try to fill it with sanctum sanctorums, with several sanctum sanctorums. So there is no way that heat can escape. Where does the heat escapes? Heat cannot escape. Worse, now we are adding air conditions. Air conditions are important. In the sense, today's, in the current lifestyle, it is becoming important. But how do you address this issue? There's only one way of doing it. I usually quote one quote from the Charlie Chaplin movie, which is the movie which is his first talking movie, Great Dictator. At the final phase of the movie, he becomes a benevolent dictator. The benevolent person becomes a dictator, and he delivers a long monologue. It's not a dialogue, it's a monologue. He speaks. A number of things he says. One thing which struck me, which probably made me to think, which affected me emotionally also, we think too much, but we feel little. That's Charlie Chaplin's monologue. We think too much, we feel little. For the environment also, we think too much, we feel little. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for enlightening our minds with your vast knowledge and wisdom. Next, I would like to invite Dr. M.R. Ramasubramanian to share his guest lecture.
A very good evening to all of you. And it's my pleasure to be a part of this particular important event where our CMD has actually planted a tree. That signifies the importance of this World Environment Day. There is a famous saying from Professor M.S. Swaminathan that this world has got enough resources to take care of the needs of the people, but not the greed. It actually signifies the importance of how we actually use our resources and then share it with the community as well as with every living being in this ecosystem. With these few words, I would like to touch upon mitigating this climate change impact on agriculture. I would like to straight away go into the impact of mining on the environment and how it actually affects the agriculture scenario, because that is actually the lifeline for all of us. Everyone would have got roots with the agriculture system. Most of them are from the farming family. So the mining is very much important to take care of our needs. At the same time, the impacts of mining, what it creates on the ecosystem is mainly the soil erosion and degradation. This year the topic is actually on the land reclamation, drought resilience and desertification. It should have been de-desertification. Desertification is actually making it a desert. It should have been de-desertification, but the theme is actually framed like that. So the soil plays a very important role. Soil, people generally call it as soul of infinite life, SOIL, soul of infinite life, because it actually caters to the need not only of the human beings, but also for the microflora, fauna, microorganisms. Anything in the world is actually depending on this soil. So how much of soil we preserve and how much of soil we are able to use it judiciously for the future, that matters the most. And the second major impact of mining is the water pollution. It may carry the pollutant discharges as well as the heavy metals. And third, of course, you all know the air pollution, particulate materials suspended in the atmosphere, and loss of biodiversity. The more and more we go and mine the area, more and more we actually get into we are actually making kind of a loss of various species, flora and fauna that is present in the ecosystem. on the soil degradation, I would like to actually give a number. Like it takes about 100 to 300 years to form an inch of soil. And a productive soil is close to about 12 inches. If you can imagine the kind of number of years it has taken for a soil to get into weathering and then giving this kind of the productive soil, which is actually the lifeline for the people. And we actually mine it, and then that particular fertility is lost. So we have to really work back on bringing all the required minerals and essential nutrients for that soil again to be back to normal. In fact, I was it was very heartening to see a lot of greening initiatives that has taken up by NLC India. And a lot of efforts have been put, but it also requires a lot of energy and resources. So, to make a fertile soil going into degradation and then recreation, reclamation, that also takes a lot of efforts. Then the water pollution. How actually water pollution affects the whole ecosystem is actually it affects the interface with the osmosis and water absorption by the plants because of the osmotic pressure difference. So water absorption is getting affected. The same way the plants, when they take the food and water, the transportation of water from the soil or the root to the topmost portion of the plant, that is getting affected because of this water pollution. And third is the poor root formation. Because of poor absorption of nutrients as well as the water, the root formation is getting affected, and then ending into the resulting in the loss of fertility or loss of food grain production. Then how we can actually mitigate these kinds of impacts? Of course, we all know the tree plantation. In fact, that is what we actually started. In the tree plantation, generally what happens is we are all sometimes obsessed with planting monoculture. In fact, that is one major impact that is also causing the land to degrade. Because if you go for similar type of plants to be planted every year and area after area, that also absorbs certain kind of resources and then depletes it. Whereas if we have to have a balanced growth and balanced greening, balanced effect of the greening initiatives, we have to have a multiple range of species that has to be planted. So we have to take into consideration the tree plantation, and we do. And then the water body restoration. The water body restoration actually plays a very significant role in improving the groundwater level. So from our practical experience, what we have seen is the water body rejuvenation and restoration. That is actually when it saturates the neighboring areas, the dormant seeds which are already available in the soil, they all get rejuvenated, and then that has actually improved the green cover to a larger extent. So wherever we have created some water bodies, that has actually created a kind of vegetation around that. When the vegetation is created around that, birds come. When the birds come, they put the droppings, and then to eat those droppings, the worms and other millipedes, centipedes, they come. So that is how we actually restore the whole ecosystem by making a simple water body rejuvenation. But we have to have a very proper system of approaching that particular initiative, like how we do that. And because being an agriculture man, I emphasize on the importance of this climate change and the impact of that climate change on agriculture. If you see the land degradation, the overall percentage of degradation is about close to about 20 to 22% of the total geographical area that is getting degraded. So that means these 22% of area, they may have some production capacity that needs to be balanced or met out from the existing area. That means the pressure on the available land is going up. So we need to be very careful about doing that. That is where we need to bring in the sustainable crop production strategies. In fact, our agriculture output last year has been about close to about 360 million tons, thanks to the concerted efforts of the Government of India. But we need close to about 420 million tons of food grain production to meet the 1.3 billion population for not only food security but for the nutritional security also. That means the pressure on the land is actually going up. So climate change, how it affects the agriculture scenario, and most important thing is these kind of the emissions or the global warming are not necessarily affecting the area where these kinds of damages are created. For example, if a damage is created in Chennai, it is not necessary that that particular impact is felt on Chennai. It may have an impact on the neighborhood in Kadalur also. So, most of the cases, the collective efforts of this global warming is creating problem in some other area where they are not at all responsible for that. And on top of it, what happens is the poor are the most vulnerable to those kind of extremes of climate, whether it is a drought, whether it is floods, or whatever it is, desertification, and their production capacity is going down. So the concerted efforts through modern and sustainable crop production technologies, I just gave an example. In fact, NLC can also explore as a part of their CSR when they do in the neighborhoods, like promotion of alternate wetting and drying in rice, because rice actually creates a lot of emissions. When they put fertilizer, when they flood water, that actually emits a lot of greenhouse gases that actually affects the atmosphere and then creating global warming. Whereas there are methods wherein we can reduce the water usage by 50%, the rice growing areas. In fact, I saw a very good rice field inside the campus, and they have actually taken up the SRI technology, which is very important technology for water saving as well as the emission preventing technology. So this can be scaled up so that it will be a very good example for NLC to really whatever the kind of damage that is being created because of the mining can be compensated through some other efforts so that it can actually neutralize the impact. And promotion of alternate energy sources, that is actually we normally create this kind of solar irrigation pumping, then solar lighting facilities and so on. So these are all some of the strategies that can really help at the rural level, at the agricultural people, to combat the impact of climate change. Coming to the tree plantation, I just want to quote the Vriksha Ayurveda. It says, 10 wells are equal to one water canal, and 10 canals are equal to one large pond. 10 large ponds are equal to a sun, and 10 suns are equal to one tree. That is, planting one tree is equivalent to 10 suns, and then you can have a kind of ripple effect, what you can see. In those days, having 10 suns is considered as the wealth. So, that is the importance that has been attached to planting a tree. As I already mentioned, planting a tree not only reduces the temperature, it also invites a lot of other biosystems as part of this ecosystem. So, the very easiest way of restoration of ecosystem is to plant a tree and then create a water body around that, or create a water body and plant a tree around that. So that can really bring back the whole system. And then another major aspect I would like to touch upon is the carbon sequestration. Dr. Narasimhan was mentioning about various plants, planting and all this stuff. And since we are creating a lot of emission of carbon dioxide, pollutants and all these things, that needs to be sequestered through. That is why we are actually planting, and that is why we are actually bringing in the green initiatives. So carbon sequestration is very, very important, that the carbon dioxide that is being emitted, that is released in the atmosphere, has to be brought into a system through a sink method, that is actually the plant. And I would like to bring about a kind of the list of trees which has got some what you call the sequestration potentials of various trees. So when we consider planting a tree, we can go for a multiple layers of trees, and then neem has got a maximum sequestration potential of 44.5 tons of carbon per hectare per year. All these things are these numbers are all of average age of 7 years and above the tree plants. And as much as possible, we can have the native species that are very much suited to local conditions, so that the drought resilience, this is also one of the themes that has been in the World Environment Day today. So the resilience can be brought up by these kinds of native species, and then the resilience can be brought up by promoting consuming a lot of millets and then producing a lot of millets that has got a very significant drought resilience capacity. And then I just to quickly go through, being engineers will be interested in calculations, so I thought that it would be interesting to project these numbers. And then this carbon sequestration potential. See, for example, if I plant a tree, after about 7 years, how much of carbon that it can absorb. The sequestration is actually absorbing the atmospheric carbon dioxide and converting it into organic carbon and keeping it as a biomass by the plant. That is why the carbon dioxide potential is reduced. The carbon dioxide is responsible for creating warming or the climate change. So there are trees have two components. That is, one is above ground biomass, and which are actually the plant part, that is the tree part above the ground, and then the below ground biomass. They are primarily roots. Carbon dioxide is assimilated both in above ground biomass and below ground biomass. And to determine the amount of carbon dioxide absorbed by the trees, we need the diameter in centimeter and the height. The diameter is actually from the ground about 1.37 meters height, whatever may be the girth, that is in centimeter, and then height. So the above ground has got the formula of 0.25 into d square, that is double the diameter and height of the plant. And below ground is considered as 20% of the above ground. That is the thumb rule that has been created, that is calculated, and then the factor has been created. So the total green biomass will be AGB plus BGB, that is 1.2 into AGB. And then from the above ground mass, that is AGB plus BGB, the total biomass is consisting of both dry biomass as well as moisture. So we have to discount that moisture. So it is considered as 72.5% of the dry mass is available in the tree. So the total biomass into 0.725 will give the total dry weight. And then the total carbon is approximately about 50% of the total dry weight of the plant. So the total carbon is calculated by this. And then weight of carbon dioxide, that is a sequestered, is total carbon into 3.67. How we arrived at this 3.67 is the atomic weight of carbon is 12 and oxygen is 16. So 2 units of oxygen is about 32 plus another 12 of carbon, so 44. So carbon dioxide to carbon ratio is the factor what we are actually looking at. So 44 divided by 12 is about 3.67. So the total amount of carbon dioxide that is actually sequestered is actually total carbon into 3.67. This is how we calculate. And then there will be a very interesting assignment for NLC, because it has got a huge vegetation, and you can actually, if it is possible, you can actually consider that, and then the calculations for carbon credit and then kind of the sequestration potential can be monetized, or it can be contributed to NDCs. So this is how I told you how water body is creating an ecosystem around that. There are some examples of this. And then this is on the sustainable agriculture productions. In fact, the photos in the middle, you can see, they're all actually very alternate wetting and drying. We actually keep water and then allow it to dry, and then once it goes to the hairline crack, then we again put water so that water utilization can be reduced. And then the bottom photos, you can see the raised bed cultivation, wherein the fields need not be flooded. So once you have the flooded water, then actually that releases a lot of greenhouse gases. So all these things can be cut out. So these are some of the examples of agriculture field, because agriculture is one of the largest emitters, especially in India and Southeast Asia, because we grow a lot of rice, and then we grow rice in submerged conditions. So that is also contributing to the greenhouse gas emissions. So we try to cut it through that. And then eco-friendly practices of producing more. Of course, alternate source of energy, biogas, solar irrigation pumps, solar street lights, and less smoke chulas. Actually, this also we are promoting in the villages as part of the rural development initiatives. So these are some of the thoughts which I thought I can share with you. So let's pledge to save our environment. As an individual, how I can contribute? I can educate the community about all this nature, and then how it can contribute. And then reduce the wastage. And normally, when we go to a hotel or wherever, even in the houses, we tend to waste, or our children tend to waste, because we may have suffered to get that particular one meal, but our children are all well off, and then they don't value that system. And then, as Professor mentioned, if they waste a bowl of rice, they are actually not only wasting the bowl of rice, they are actually wasting close to about 1,000 liters of water also. So that is very difficult, and that is very scarce commodity. So we can educate the community and educate our family members. And planting a tree, as I already mentioned, what are the benefits of planting a tree, and conserve the resources. We normally call it as reduce, reuse and recycle. So with all these things, as in every individual, if we can contribute, and that is a major contribution to the society, and together we can actually make this happen, and then we can make a difference. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. We are grateful for your valuable contribution and innovation in the field of agriculture. Thank you once again for sharing your knowledge.
Now the floor is open for the presentation of Dr. Bharati Nambi about the environmental benefits, commercial viability and other important aspects of Bima bamboo. Thank you, Honorable. Thank you.
Good evening, respected Chairman and Managing Director. Thank you very much for the excellent introduction by Subbaravji, the other executive directors, and the members of NLCIL. I'm very, very happy that I'm with you on this green day to get the plants planted. And that happens to be, a lot of Bima bamboo has been getting planted in the ground. And more happy that, you're the people who can really use it to burn it, make energy with no smoke being sent to the sky. Every ton of coal when you burn, literally you're throwing around 2.2 tons of carbon dioxide, which is buried millions of years back in the soil. But without that, nothing works. My cell phone doesn't work, my fridge doesn't work, the auditorium doesn't work. We need electricity. We cannot be without that. You're doing immense service of producing so much amount of power for the 5 states in the south. Very important. No plastic is impossible. Similarly, no electricity is impossible. But do we have alternative? Yes. There are plants. The plant grows faster. Very, very fast. 1.5 feet a day. No plant grows 1.5 feet a day. And that plant, when you burn it, it can literally replace the coal what you put inside. How much? Not 1 ton to 1 ton. 1 ton of bamboo biomass can reduce 2 tons of coal usage to produce same amount of energy, electricity, or whatever the energy we are looking at. So that's what I'm going to talk to you now. The bamboo grows 1.5 feet a day. I recorded something like 15 years back. You see them? I put a clock. It started growing. This is 1 minute photograph. 24 hours. It's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon now. And 6 o'clock over. You see it, it's grown 1.5 feet a day. I mean, don't believe it. We planted the bamboo, wait for 1 more year. In the plant alone, it will grow to a height of something like almost 20 feet. Anniki varakudi shoots la pathina, it will start growing at a speed of 1.5 feet, 1.5 feet. You can go measure every other day. I mean, I've not done anything great about it. This is nature's gift. I looked at where it's available. It was in the backyard. It was in Assam, in Meghalaya. Brought it to South India. They said it won't work. I brought it 20 years back. Tested. Looked at what to be fed to the plant. And we found out so much amount of water, so much amount of fertilizer, enough sunlight is available, it's going to grow. Cherry, we found out it's growing. What is the use? Today, we are able to make electricity from bamboo. Okay? Now, bamboo by Bharat Petroleum, they are able to convert into ethanol. So today, all our petrol is getting blended with 3%, then become 5%. Today, we reach 10%. Last month, they said 12% blending of ethanol. Removing the petrol, putting the ethanol. substituting. The goal of country is to reach 20%. Sugarcane is giving ethanol, no doubt. It's giving 400 liters from molasses from 1 acre. If you convert all the juice, 2,000 liters from 1 acre. Same water, same land, bamboo will be able to give you 12,000 liter ethanol. That's the finding. Where is 400 liters? Where is 12,000 liters? Sir, unmanageable connection. And it was sleeping. It was there for a long years. Now, Bharat Petroleum has started in a big way. They've been doing it. They're going to. Our Prime Minister is going to inaugurate it in another 3-4 months' time. A technology from Finland, right? Now, this is the coal. What you're using it? Let's stop coal. Not stop coal. Slowly reduce. Reduce by 5%. And that's a bamboo. The bamboo will produce the pellets. You harvest the bamboo, powder it the bamboo, you will be converted to pellets, burn the pellet along with the coal. That's the same energy is going to come. This smoke captured by the bamboo is going back is carbon neutral. Burning a bamboo coal is not carbon neutral. You are adding up the carbon dioxide. Now, Government of India made a plan. He said, let's slowly start introducing a pellet in India. And that's a message. They said India is introducing a pellet in a big way. They said 5% blending last year. This year is 7%. Next year 10%. By 2025, our target to reach at least 20%. Let's not talk about 20%. Let's talk about 5% itself. The 5% coal, the biomass policy said by 22 itself, October 22, we are 23, 24 now. We should have compulsion. We have to slowly start removing it, doing that. Right? This is Government of India Ministry of Power order, where they very clearly stated that we should change it. Okay, let us look at India, what is doing now. We are using 1,000 million ton of coal. 1,000 million tons. I was in Malaysia, my bamboo is getting planted. I asked them, how much coal are you using it? Whole country, 36 million ton only. I was in Indonesia for planting my bamboo. I asked them, how much coal are you using it? 156 million ton. Look at 1,000 billion ton. Last year 920 million ton. This year is 1,000 million ton. But it's essential. Our country is growing. Our population is 3 billion. We need to have enough energy. It's not sufficient, sir. Inna energy man kaanadhu namakku. So to reduce by 10%, we need to reduce 10 million ton. What is 10 million ton? We have to grow bamboo in that. 40 tons per acre we can make it. National average is only 1 ton per acre. மாடு பால் கறக்குது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 1 லிட்டர் 2 லிட்டர் கொடுக்குதுங்க. Jersey cow is able to give you 40 liter milk. Similarly, we found a developed bamboo which is like a Jersey bamboo, and that's able to do that. Even at 20 tons, we need 5 million acre of bamboo to be cultivated. That's the big target. I am actually advisor today to Agriculture Ministry, Rural Ministry. Now, I'm not for the government, sir. I'm from a private company now. I'm running my own company for the last 20 years. Now, what is the solution? You produce electricity through the bamboo by way of cultivation of bamboo. You're doing wonderful job of planting trees, beautiful trees. I saw today a lot of eucalyptus on this campus here itself, and I saw kodukapuli being planted there in the mine soil. No grass is growing, trees are growing, sir. Beautiful. A lot of effort has gone there. And then I saw the other side, Pongamia glabrima. Beautiful. Drip irrigation. Sottu neer thanni vidranga, sir. Israel technology. We are doing only for maize and rice or sugar cane. You're doing that. But the candidate crop is, we cannot cut the tree like Pongamia. One day cut panna 3 varadhukku romba naal agum. So you can cut it, produce a pellet every year, produce energy, it produces electricity again. a carbon neutral, reducing the emission. Ultimately, our goal will be achieved. We are still giving the electricity. Without electricity, nobody can survive. And what you are going to reach, net zero. Our Prime Minister at COP26 event and said, our country will become net zero, zero emission of everything by 2070. He is committed already on behalf of the country. Mudiyuma? Impossible, sir. Coal illa medu panna mudiyum. But you need to have a substitute. Slowly look at it. Solar panel can do that. You have done wonderful job of putting the solar panel. 1 megawatt solar panel will produce hardly 2,000 megawatt hours per year. But 1 megawatt of bamboo project will produce 8,000 megawatt in a year, sir. That's the difference. So the renewable energy can be produced in large scale through the energy plantation. I just make a small comparison for you to understand. The pellets are made today with many things: rice husk, cotton stalk, wheat straw. That's all been done today. Bamboo is also there. Bamboo can produce 40 ton. Throughout the year you can harvest. Plant once, grow for 100, 200 years. Moisture is only 12%. The energy bulk density is only 0.54. Very good bulk density. Cellulose is very high. All other things, you look at this. Tonnage. Rice straw is only 1-2 tons per acre. Rice husk is 0.45. Cotton stalk is 0.8 ton. What you get from 200 acres, you'll get it from 2,000, 3,000 acres. You have to go collect everywhere. Custom. So, seasonal. You're always available. You don't need to replant them at all. Now, lignite has got an energy, 1,800, 2,000 calories, 2,200 calories. Bamboo has got 4,200 calories. Almost 2 tons is equal to 1 ton of bamboo. It's available. So bamboo is not new to India. It's one of the original plant of India. We're not bringing something like eucalyptus from abroad or acacia from abroad. It's a plant of our country. Tanjavurli enga paathalum moongila dhaan irukum. Assam, you look at it everywhere, bamboo. Different species. Different species. Look at what is good for that. Now, when you look at the bamboo, the energy value is so good. It's got 4,200 kilocalorie, as against all other things are less than that. So, the bamboo is the best available today for us. Now, if you're looking at why we should do that, because energy is 4,200 kilocalories, ash is only 2%. Nama lignite calorie pathina 20%, 25%, 30% irukku podu. I'm not from the coal, but I'm sure you all got more experience than me. And so much more. 500 lorry load coming with the bamboo. Only 2 lorries should wait and take the ash out. In a coal, 4 to 5 lorry coming, 1 lorry should wait and take the ash out. That's the ratio at which is going to come. The grade, the pellet is equivalent to a good pellet. Bamboo pellet is no smoke, no smell. And best fuel characteristic features like high combustion temperature is, it can go up to 120 degree for melting degree in the furnace. A sustainable source. Today sustainability is a jargon everywhere. And it's a highly sustainable source. And ash fusion temperature is very high, low NOx and silica content, and sustainable for wide range of pellet application and all that. Now, the productivity is very low. Like our chicken, like our cow, the milk is low. Here also is low, 0.5 tons per acre per year. The whole world has got 35 million hectare of bamboo. Half of that is in India. 16.5 million hectare in India. China has got only 5.5. They do everything in the world. Technology. That's what we are leaking. So 0.5 is the Indian average yield. Farmers, they are able to get easily from 4 to 8 tons per acre. My research, my team's research done for the last 15 years, we pushed this and all to 40 tons per acre per year. 40 ton is not maximum. The maximum is 100 ton. I'm just committing only 40 for people. There is one power project in Nagpur, 10 megawatt power project. They got 65 tons per acre per year. Let's forget about higher steel. Average 40 tons. And why? Because generally bamboo doesn't grow. Slow. Chairman's also asked me how long it will take, 5 years to grow. I just go to sleep and come. Exactly. Yes, sir. So bamboo grows like this, sir. It comes only as shoulder height in the first, second year. And they are just taller than you and me in the third year. Fourth year is very tall. After 5-6 years only you can harvest it. What I did, sir, I did a lot of research work, studying the cow, studying the broiler chicken, and I made them to grow like this in the second year itself. சாப்பாடு தான் சார் அதுக்கு. With the right feed, right plant. You have planted a fence today. Beautiful. You all watch it for next 1 year. Next time, next meeting, you'll be able to see them. They are grown at least 15 to 20 feet tall. And then plant is ready for harvest in the third year itself. Then third year, fourth year, fifth year, you can keep on harvesting. And that is what we have done. This is called modern method of cultivation, which I'm doing from many countries. I'm honored. Mr. Subbarao traveled all the way to Hosur to come and see whether this fellow, whatever he's talking, is sensible or nonsense. He came with a whole team of people, and I think he's taken to the CMD, and then I think I'm very fortunate I'm able to stand in front of you. And this is the way the bamboo is grown. Bamboo is grown like a sugarcane plant, sir. Bamboo is not grown as a bamboo. Sugarcane, varsha cut பண்றாங்க. Same way we are bringing. And that's the reason it's able to do that. So today you can see them, this 40 ton is coming because we found the best species in the nature. And the best clone in the species, I named it as a name called Bhima. I thought it would be only popular in South India. Otherwise I would have given Bhim, which is very common for the whole India. Otherwise, because a lot of foreigners ask me, Bhima is what, your daughter's name or son's name? And I should have given like a Gromo or some other English name. I never knew it will become so popular, but it's become popular today, and that we are doing through tissue culture. One plant is okay. We should make everybody to do that. So we are making 1 lakh plant every day. That's what the tissue culture process, where I did my PhD 40 years back, today could convert into a process. What is needed is the right agriculture practice in the field. Since Mr. Subbarao has shown me all these plantations, what has been done here, beautiful. Right amount of knowledge has gone there, effort has gone there, your investment has gone there, your amount of money right from there. One small addition, ஒரு fence போட்டீங்கன்னா மாடு வந்து சாப்பிடாது. Fence is needed when you grow bamboo because initially cow also likes this. Lot of calcium. They want to give milk through the calcium. The chicken will come and eat this. Put a fence for 1 year. Then leave it, it will be very, very tall. So like that, few other things if you can add up, it's going to be very good. Plant high density, closer planting, which you are doing now. For the fence also, you have done a high density plantation. Drip irrigation, you all have done it. You have used very, very simple method of doing drip irrigation above the ground itself. Superb. And today, I also saw you got a nice bamboo field here. When I was coming, I think I just stopped there and then I saw mullu moongil. Ulla pogave முடியாது. You cannot go inside. பாம்பு இருக்கும். கிழிச்சு கோடு போட்டு நம்ம மேலலாம். And that kind of a thing also I saw that those were thorny bamboo. We should not take the thorny bamboo. We should take the normal bamboo, thornless bamboo and thick wall bamboo. That's what the Bhima bamboo what you planted today. Not the normal one. Normal one is very thin and light, not good for energy, good for construction. Bangalore airport is made out of bamboo. If you go to the terminal 2, the entire terminal, our Prime Minister made it with only bamboo. Sir, the entire structure, sir, this is only 2-story building, 4-story building with no support. The bamboo is holding it. Airport, international airport, the best airport in the world. Last time I went from here to Japan to Canada. Avanga airport nothing in front of this. I'm not just praising bamboo Nolio, not because of Bangalore. It's the best airport. Our Prime Minister has really done a good effort in this. But then let's talk about our requirement. Fuel. We need to have only fuel. Let's not talk about keyboard and all that. Now, energy value is 4,200 kilocalories. Super energy. ash is low, asphyxiation is very good, and it should be grown as a plantation, not as a forest. You have a forest. I saw the forest today. You have your energy plantation. It should be like grown like this, and it should be a dedicated energy plantation. How you're doing coal? You're cutting and you keep on removing the coal, but coal is not coming. Bamboo will come back. Bamboo will come back and come back and come back, provided you give them the water and the nutrition. You have nutrition in the form of in the coal powder. And you have solutions for cutting the mine. And your water, all that is sufficient for this. I have developed only the cloning technique of putting them in a test tube as a test tube babies. And the test tube babies, this is a production line. Sir, sir, they all know, they all witnessed my place. This is a line, production line, doing it in Hosur, largest factory in the world in Hosur. And this is what we are doing. Greenhouse plant is grown. This is what has come to you. It takes almost 24 months in my laboratory. Let's forget about it. When it comes to you, it starts growing that. How is growing? I just want to tell what is the demand for India, the pellets. India's requirement is, I think I already covered, I just want to skip this. NLC. Let us come to your requirement. What you got, what you need to do that. You need to use at least 5% to satisfy the government. Not now, in another 5 years' time if you want to do that. What you need is your requirement. You are almost, I may be wrong in numbers in 5-10%, 30 million tons you are using now. The 30 million ton, if you are going for the government regulation, over 10% if you are going to do in 10 years from now, 3 years, 4 years from now, you need to have at least 3 million ton, not 30 million ton, 3 million ton. 3 million ton of coal can be replaced with 1.5 million ton of bamboo. Because the energy is double the energy what is available. So what area you need? Only 50,000 acres of land. So maybe your total land what you have today, maybe around, I think I may be wrong, around 10 to 15% of your land allocated for this. Not immediately, slowly. You will achieve this 10% target. Beyond that, if you want to do that, give it to the farmer. I see a lot of people retiring now. You also can go put up an energy plantation. Make at least 2-3 lakh rupees from every acre of land. Give it back to your own company. They need quantity. They'll buy back. I'm doing it now for Tata Chemicals. Tata Chemicals in Gujarat, they're giving it to the farmers. They're also planting it. They're also giving it to the farmers. Farmer, after 3 years, he'll start giving it to the company back at 5,000, 6,000 rupees market rate. At market rate, the farmer will get 1.5 lakh rupees profit per acre. Grow rice. I saw beautiful slides today in the morning, in the prayer time. So 10,000 to 20,000 rupees profit per acre is highest in rice. My PhD is in rice. Sugarcane, cash crop, 35,000 rupees per acre. The same water, same place, same effort, bamboo will give you 1 lakh rupee. NLC will start buying back. It has to be doing that. So how do you do that? We plant the bamboo like this. 1,000 plants per acre, and this is the first government project which is we done in 2010 itself. Sugar mill. Pannisalam sir was the general manager at the time. He was working, and it is planted. You see them. The energy plantation was done. This is the plantation in 1 year. This is a plantation. You see them. The people are standing. I just superimposed over 1% height, 2% height, and a 3% height. It shoots up. You have planted 1 row here, 3 rows here. You will be able to see it in front of your eyes. And how we planted? Small little plant like this. In 2 months' time, this is 1 month old plant. It gives me so much more a gap, 12 feet gap. This is 1 month old plant. It's like a 1 day old chicken. Now, in 4 months' time. In another 4 months, 8 months' time, like a compound wall. Sir, the same plant in another 4 months, sir, 12 months' time, completely covered. There is every place become dark. No light is wasted. Whatever sun is giving, solar panels converting into electricity, yeah, they are converting into biomass. And systematic cultivation. I will teach once, it will be done. A lot of farmers are doing it. Now you see them 8 feet, 12 feet, all the gap completely covered with the green car. And the mass is standing below the plant. You just see, I just put a person next to that to see what is the height. This is the sugarcane factory 10 years back, 12 years back. 1 year, that's a growth. As CMT said, the plant doesn't grow. It takes 5 years for bamboo to grow. That is the whole theory. Today the technology is changed. Whole mine will be look like this, sir. Somebody flying above this is what? This is a row of bamboo. Rows of bamboo planted straight away. And this is going to change your green cover, carbon sequestration. Temperature will come down, drains will be good. We'll get enough coal for us. Substitute of coal, we'll be getting it. This is the way they harvest it. Once we harvest, this is the kind of bamboos available. And days to come, labor will not be there to cut all this. We have developed that also now itself. Machine will come and cut like a sugar cane. Do you see them? Completely cut. My head is like, complete balded. And completely removed. In 2 weeks' time, it will come back. In 4 weeks' time, they grow a little bigger. In 6 weeks' time, so much has come back. After harvest, all the branches, leaves still lying down there, not removed. So these are all new innovations. You don't need to replant the bamboo again. Such a beautiful, wonderful plant. Nature has given it. And this is how the bamboo is going to look in 2 years' time. Again, one more cut. So 40 ton, 40 ton, 40 ton, or 80 ton, no yield 80 ton. So that's a growth is going to be there. Fertilizer to be applied. I don't want to take, I'm taking too much of time. I'm just not going to explain this. And it's an effective biocarbon capture of bamboo. The carbon dioxide captured, the carbon is stored inside, sir. 2000 years, the biochar put in the soil became fertile. And they'll remain for this carbon credit available. Instead of 1 lakh rupee or 2 lakh rupee by giving to the NLC, you convert them to charcoal, put it in the soil, you'll get 8 lakh rupees per acre. It's called carbon credit. Carbon capture and storage. Go to the internet, you'll get it. This is what today is a carbon credit available. So for which the bamboo has to be cultivated, grown, converted into charcoal. Take the charcoal, put it inside the soil, it becomes 14 ton of biochar from 1 acre, amounts to 50 ton of carbon dioxide. Go check it up, 50 ton. 1 ton is $200 in the market. So $10,000 from 1 acre, 8 lakh ruba 1 acre linde. Varumanam. What do you spend? 1 lakh rupee. Net profit 7 lakh rupees. If you put rice, 20,000 rupees. Anyhow, that's all coming up in a very, very, very big way. I don't want to take too much of time. I've done. But today, people started making money by capturing the carbon dioxide, solidifying it, putting into the ground. Carbon capture and storage, company called South Pole is doing in the North Pole. And they are charging 1 ton of carbon dioxide capture. They say $1,000 US. Microsoft is giving it. Google is giving it. You will get all the information. These are all the modern technology. People, when you retire, you all can do this. You can do and combined association. You can start doing together. But when you do the bamboo, it's going to cost only $50 US to capture 1 ton of carbon dioxide. And that's going to be, but the market price today is $200. But people are selling up to $1,000. This is, bamboo is a disruptive technology. When somebody told you phone was going to be, no more phone is going to be there 20 years back, you would not have believed it. So like that, bamboo is the next disruptive technology to dominate the future. I'm very, very thankful for giving me such a wonderful time to talk to you all. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். Today is World Environment Day, and I'm pleased to be here along with you, with dignitaries on the dais, and I am also pleased to sit in between 3 doctorate one side and 2 doctorate other side. And We heard from the eminent speakers about different topics, and we are enriched with different type of the topics they selected on the particularly this Environment Day. As you know, if you go and read Puranas, whether it is Ramayana or Mahabharata or Bhagavatam, any Purana, there you observe the coexistence of human being with nature. Starting from, if you take the case of the writer of Ramayana, Valmiki, who started his journey with a forest, an inspiration from an incident, and subsequently, whatever incidents happened, whatever narration is there in the Ramayana, that is linked to either forest or coexistence or living with creatures, living with birds, living with animals. So if you go through the entire Ramayana, the coexistence of human being with the nature and other species is there. Similarly, in Mahabharata, there is mention at number of places about Kandavan. So, since the beginning, our tradition was to have coexistence with the nature and preserving the nature. For developmental sake, for so-called developmental sake, we are destroying this balance between the nature and the human being. That is the reason why you must have heard recently the temperature in Delhi touched 52.3 degrees. First time in the history. Floods in Assam, floods in Afghanistan, floods in USA. Lowest temperatures in many parts of the world. Highest temperatures in many parts of the world. All these things are attributed to the damage which we are doing to the environment. We are not understanding the importance of this, like Mr. Narasimhanji has told in his narration, that we see the things but don't feel. That is the reason why we are facing all these type of natural calamities. And if the same continues in future also, then the temperatures will touch the other extremities and the existence of human race itself will be a problem. Even when there were no rules and regulations about afforestation, mine reclamation, and other environmental conditions, NLC has given utmost importance to the environmental friendly mining as well as environmental friendly power generation. That is the reason why all the eminent speakers here appreciated our NLC India mines as well as power stations. Whenever we reclaim the mines, we are developing greeneries, we are developing water bodies, we are developing eco parks, we are doing agriculture, we are doing drip irrigation, we are doing all types of experimental areas. That is the reason why we are in this situation as on date. This was shown to one of the parliamentary committee headed by a number of senior ministers in Delhi, and they well appreciated the efforts of NLCIL. We were very happy, but this was a problem to others. because they were asking others, when you reach to this level. So since beginning we have been doing many works towards this environmental protection, but that is not sufficient. We have to do more. Our township and our mines are having more than 3 crore trees. That is the reason why the temperature in the Neyveli area is almost 4 to 5 degrees less than the surrounding areas. Second important point is, there are 3 major mines in operation. And one of the mines is the largest in Asia, largest open cast mine in Asia. And there are 4 thermal power stations in operation. But still our township and our plant premises all are dust free, mainly because of the trees that are available in the township and the mines. So this is a practical example where with by maintaining the proper number of trees, we can balance between the development and the nature. Just while coming here, I received one of WhatsApp message where one incident in Bangalore was highlighted. I think that was circulated mainly because today is a World Environment Day. One person, he was visiting an air conditioner shop, because in Bangalore also now the temperatures are soaring. Earlier people used to go to Bangalore as for summer visit, but now it is not that case, that as already told. So he was inquiring about air conditioner. So he is asking that there is temperatures are soaring, that's why I want to install one air conditioner in my house, so for the entire house. So he was telling these are the models that are available, these are the models which filter the air also, these are the models which gives healthy air. So then after finalizing one of the models, he was asking him, okay, this air conditioner I want to install in my house, but how many days this air conditioner will work? So he was telling that, see, we give a warranty for 1 year, and after that, whatever damage happens, that you have to bear for it. And every year you have to do the maintenance activities, preventive maintenance activities, cleaning activities, all these activities you have to do. Then he was asking him, give me an AC which is a maintenance free, which doesn't require any maintenance, any cost involved in that, which gives me healthy hair. Then immediately he took one sample and handed over to him, sample of tree. That shows the importance of the trees, but we neglect their importance. So in our eco parks and afforestation area, I was very much impressed with one of the quotes on one of the trees. So, my father and mother were cut in so-called development. My father and mother died in so-called development. Please don't cut me. That is one of the caption that is written on one of the trees. That is very true. The service being done by the trees, if you consider, that is really outstanding. When I was hearing about the bamboo cultivation and the growth it is giving, In a day, it is almost growing at almost 1.5 to 2 feet. That shows that the capability of many of that such type of places. This bamboo is the one thing he is covered, but many trees are having many beautiful characteristics. So if you focus on that and ensure that proper afforestation is done and proper trees are planted, then they will protect the environment. In one of the presentations, the biomass pellets mixing with the coal and lignite was discussed, and in fact this communication from ministry has come in the year 2021 and subsequently in 2022. Based on that, we started the blending of biomass pellets in our Tuticorin NTPL plant, 2 into 500 megawatt, 1000 megawatt, and we are the first in the state to start biomass pellets mixing. But that is not sufficient. We have to take it forward. We have to reach the level of 10% and beyond, so that we can conserve the natural resources of lignite or coal. So on this Environment Day, let us commit that we take all care of the environment while delivering all our responsibilities, and ensure that we start from simple things. Reduce, reuse, recycle. That is a simple thing which we can start. Reduction in usage of the natural resources, going for recycling of the natural resources, and going for reclamation of the natural resources. Let us start with that. And we should cultivate this habit to our children and relatives also. The importance of the triple R that which we discussed, RRR, to ensure that the natural resources are conserved. So let us take a small step which should be converted into a movement and finally lead to the environmental protection. Once again, I wish each and everyone sitting here and the people who are connected virtually a happy World Environment Day, and let us start with a determination to protect the environment with all the measures which we can take. We started an innovative concept of Vanam. I think you all know, I think most of you participated. We are having one application, Vanam, where people can plant a sample and upload their image in that. So we maintain a directory of that. But with great innovativeness and enthusiasm, the team prepared that application and launched it. But response is not that good. As on date, only around 8,000 incidents are uploaded in the application. So I request, our township population is almost a lakh. So at least 5 lakh saplings should be planted in next 1 year period, and that should be uploaded in Vanam. Let us target for that. Once again, I congratulate you and wish that we do further achievement, we get further achievements in this area. On this occasion, I wish that all take environment very seriously. All our ill effects as on date are related to environment only. So let us take it very seriously. Before I end, so Digvijay Singh ji is with us for last almost 4.5 to 5 years. And whatever achievements NLCIL had during these 4 years, most of the credit goes to Digvijay Singh ji and his team, because they are taking care of safety of all of us. They are taking care of security of all of us. That's why we are working for the company fearlessly. So from this forum, I wish him a happy, healthy, prosperous and peaceful life ahead at his new place of posting also, and wish that he continue to do good things there also. Thank you everyone.
Chief guest, our visionary chairman and managing director, our esteemed directors, DIG, CASF, our enlightening speakers, Dr. Narasimhan, Dr. Ram Subramanian, Dr. Bharati, dear colleagues and guests. As we conclude World Environment Day 2024, I am filled with gratitude. Today, in this Agneswaran auditorium, we have charted a course to restore our precious land. Thank you, CMD sir, for your visionary address. As you led us in planting Bima bamboo, you planted hope in our hearts. To our distinguished speakers, Dr. Narasimhan, your taxonomy illuminates our biodiversity state. Dr. Subramanian, you bridge agriculture and environment policies. Dr. Bharati, you have shown bamboo as a key to rural empowerment. Your expertise has equipped us to be agents of change. To our directors, Dr. Suresh Chandrasuman, Director Mines and PNP Additional Judge, Sri Samit Swarup, Director HR, Dr. Prasanna Kumar Acharya, Director Finance, and through Digvijay Singh, DIG, CSF. Your presence today signifies that NLCIL sustainability isn't a department's job. It's every leader's mandate. Thank you for embodying this unity of purpose. Thanks to all senior officials, uniteds, and my dear colleagues present here. Special thanks to Learning and Development, Corporate Environment Cell, and Horticulture Department. Thank you one and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So as we conclude this event, let's carry the spirit of today forward, continue to work, celebrate, and learn together. Thank you once again. Please have a great evening.